What's up everybody, Fortexfiend here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, where I'm going to be giving you guys my banner review for the latest banner in SD Gundam G Generation Eternal. Before I get started, you guys know the drill. If you enjoy what you see on the channel, there's that subscribe button there, that notification bell, like or dislike, and comment down below what your guys' thoughts are and opinions about the brand new units, the banner, and if you guys did pull, let me know how your guys' pulls went in the comment section below. Also, I want to touch up on the last few days. I know that I haven't really been posting any content. I actually streamed yesterday for the first time after a few days of just taking a break. I'm not going to get into it because I already did on my YouTube community post and my Discord announcement. So if you guys were able to read that, greatly appreciate it. And to those of you that did reach out, I greatly appreciate it as well. I am doing better, but I am back now to be making some more content for you guys on my YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and go over this brand new banner, and I'm going to tell you guys what my thoughts and opinions are on the unit. So I'm going to keep things short in terms of these SSRs and SRs. So something that I've been noticing when it comes to these brand new SSRs and SRs, a lot of the value tends to come from the pilot. So I'm just gonna do kind of like a summarization in a nutshell sort of a thing. So in terms of these two pilots, this pilot is actually quite solid. He is a double support type pilot. So in a sense, you got a double counterattack or a double support. Very, very good. In terms of skills, you got some pretty solid skills there with boost range and increased accuracy and evasion. So all in all, very, very good support pilot. And in terms of the defensive pilot that you can get from this banner, in terms of the skills, I would say that the Force Guard is good. Not really too much of a fan of the lock-on, but it's there if you need the, guaranteed accuracy. And something that I do like is not only does it have a support defense +1, but it is also a pilot that can execute a support defense against an enemy counterattack. So we know that the UR pilot that's featured on this banner has that as well. So this is the other pilot that has it. It is an SSR, but it's also useful in that sense. So all in all, just a summarization is these two SSR pilots are good. However, you are not chasing after these pilots. What we're going to be chasing after is going to be the aerial rebuild and the Gundam BARBATOS Lupus Rex. Now we're going to go ahead and first actually take a look at the warship, because the warship is quite interesting. So this is one of the few warships that now support two different things. So if the mobile suits that are in your team that are a part of this warship have just the Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, you get a 28% increase to your stats. However, if they have that on top of the Alaya Vigiana system, you are going to get the 44% stat increase, and that is comparable to the limited UR supporter warships that we've seen. For example, there is the One-Shot Killer limited ship, there is the Ace unit, and there's also the new type one, which has a Bright Noah. So it is comparable to that. However, remember, you got to have those two particular prerequisites to benefit from that. However, unfortunately, it is an energy restoration ship, so not nearly as desirable as the HP restoration. However, something that's cool about this one is that this one is not a limited ship. So if you pull it, you do have access to technically a ship that has statistical boost on par with a limited ship, but it does have a little bit more prerequisites for you to fulfill that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at Gundam Aerial Rebuild. I will be talking about this unit, taking into consideration, all of the limit breaks and things that you have on it. So this unit, in terms of its abilities, is really strong. It has max HP increase. It also gets another defense increase when its HP is above 50% or higher. So that means a little bit more survivability there. And then its other passive is that it reduces enemy attacks whenever beam weapons are incoming. So it reduces that type of damage. Keep in mind, though, that if you are anticipating or, tanking an incoming EX attack, unfortunately, there is that weapon damage nullification. So this ability is not really going to be doing much for you at all. It does have shield defense, which I always like that on my defensive units. And then in terms of its actual skills, I'm just going to highlight the ones that I think are really good. Obviously, its EX skill is going to be good. It has a range of up to 5, which is always nice. Attack down 35%. Absolute hit. Weapon attribute damage reduction null is always expected when it comes to our EX attacks. However, what the most important thing for me that I like for this is the range of up to 5, because anytime you're using an attack that has some sort of like a debuff or something like that, you want to have maximum range, because why not, right? That way positioning is easier. That way it's a little bit easier to place this unit on the map and ensure that you got to do what you need to do, right? The other attack that I do like that it has is going to be this one, which also has a range of 5, this gun bit rifle. So this decreases special weapon power by 25%. Not as good as some others that we've seen. However, again, what I love about this is the range. It has a range of up to 5. It can be used at tension max or greater, so you want to keep that in mind. But the range is nice, so you have 2 different options in terms of 5 range skills for this particular mobile suit. The tags on this one are actually quite good. It has one-shot killer, it has protagonist, it has specialized unit, alternative, and Gundam. So very, very good tags right there. You can run this with the limited UR ship if you have it for one-shot killer. We know for the next upcoming Master League, one-shot killer is going to be featured again for some reason. I find that really interesting, but we are having this tag on this particular unit. Also, another plus about this particular unit is that it's not limited. So when this banner expires, this unit will be on future banners. So if you miss out on it now, you could get it later. You don't have to run and chase for it. But for a non-limited unit, it's actually pretty good. And we're going to actually talk about the pilot, because the pilot does, when they teased this one, did have a passive that really stood out. So first off, support defense +1, always nice. When it's support defense 20%. When it's piloting a unit with that particular tag, increase MP by 6, always nice. And then when Suletta is piloting a unit of this particular tag, she also has that ability to support defend against an incoming enemy counterattack. And she also increases damage dealt to the enemy and also reduces the damage that she takes. So very, very nice that she can do that. Essentially, this is very strong, especially for Master League, because she could jump in and take any incoming counterattacks that, let's say, like one of your squishy DPS units has, and then afterwards your DPS unit will still be fine. So this is very, very useful. Very good in protecting essentially the next UR that we're going to talk about, who tends to be quite a squishy berserker type unit. And then last passive she gets is going to be increased defense by 5%. In terms of her skills, I will have to say that in a nutshell, these are all fantastic skills. Boost range, increasing the range of her weapons. So now there's 2 attacks that I highlighted from her mobile suit are now at 6. High speed, giving her more movement, so she's easier to place on the map. And force guard in case you need to mitigate further damage. So all in all, I think the pilot is really good. She's unique. She's one of 2 pilots that can now do that, defending against a enemy counterattack. And all in all, she's solid. Again, though, she's not limited, so you're not chasing after her. If you do pull her, good. However, if you want to wait and try to pull this again on another banner while trying to chase a unit you actually want, then, might as well go ahead and do so that way. So that way, you're saving your resources. Okay, it is time to talk about the star of the show, which is going to be the BARBATOS Lupus Rex. Again, I know that this unit gets a lot of love, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what this unit is all about. So, with the teasers, we know that this thing is a crit machine, and just to let you guys know ahead of time, this unit is the best crit machine in the game. It is better than Crossbones. It is better than Master Gundam. If you're looking for an absolute crit monster, this is the unit right here. Now, we're going to take a look at why this unit is an absolute crit monster. First of all, if you take a look at its abilities, attack and energy recovery. So increase attack by 15%, and it also has an energy regen, which is nice. When its vigor is super high, it gets an attack increase by 7%. However, it does reduce its defense. And then when it's supercharged, that attack up goes by 15%, but then the defense down is at 10%. So it's kind of trading it off because, again, this thing is going nuts. It's going berserk. If you've seen the anime, you know that this thing is an absolute attack machine. It also does have a passive that reduces enemy attacks from beam weapons. However, remember, when you're getting hit by weapon attribute nullification, unfortunately, this is not going to be doing anything to those particular EX attacks. But it does have that as well in case you're fighting against like a ranged opponent that likes to use beam attacks that are not EX weapons. Okay, in terms of its actual skills, its EX is quite powerful, having a base power at 7,080, and then it also has increased critical damage by 40%, and it also has critical. Look at the critical percentage on that, 25%. So just at base alone, this attack has a 1 in 4 chance to crit, and it increases its critical damage by 40%. So this does a lot of damage, and the range for being a melee unit is not bad for its EX skill being at 4. For a melee styled unit, that's actually pretty solid. Its other attack, which is really good, has a respectable power at 6,240. This goes even higher the lower its HP is. So risky style of play, but it does have a range of 4, which is always nice. Keep in mind, though, that it can be used at tension max or greater. So your tension needs to be at that max or greater in order to have access to this. But once you do, you do have another very powerful skill on hand in case you need to use it. In terms of its tags, as we can see right here, it does have alternative Gundam protagonist, specialized unit, the Alia Vijnana system. I hope I'm saying that right again, and also tough as nails. In terms of like taking advantage of a UR supporter warship, it's probably going to be the one that we just talked about, because it does get that up to 44% increased stats if you do have that thing max limit broken. So that's probably going to be the one you're going to use with this if you want something the most optimized. However, if you don't have that, or you don't plan on going nuts for this banner, you can always run tough as nails, or if you have specialized unit, that's another one that you can run as well. In terms of its pilot, which is Mika. So Mika is another melee crit machine. Again, he surpasses our other pilots that focus on damage like that, because he is limited. In terms of his actual skills, they're all good. Boost critical by 50%. So if you use this and then you use his EX with his own unit, that's a 75% chance to crit, which is insane. He has melee boost. Again, he's a melee type damage dealer. And he has sway level 1 if you need that added survivability, because we know that he does get a defense down when he is at supercharge or higher with his particular unit. However, he does still get that attack increase. In terms of his actual abilities, he has increased damage dealt. If he's piloting a unit of that particular tag, guess what? He gets another critical rate increase. So this guy's critical rate is through the roof. Again, it's the best crit unit in the game. He also has an additional chance step, and when he's piloting units with the specified tags, increases his MP by 6, and he also reduces the damage he takes by 15%. So he has some sort of like a damage mitigation, and it kind of offsets that defense down from his actual unit, which I think is really nice that they gave him that. Not quite as good as a specific Burning Gundam that we've seen floating around, but it's still pretty solid. And then he has increased melee, because why not? Let's just give this guy more melee, because that is what he's all about. So all in all, I think this is a pretty solid banner. I think Barbatos Lupus Rex is up there definitely with our DPS units. If I were to put my own personal rank on where this unit sits, now don't come at me at the comments, this is my own personal opinion, but I still think Burning Gundam is better than this unit. If you have Burning Gundam, you probably don't need another melee unit. He's strong, don't get me wrong. He definitely crits a lot harder than Burning, but Burning has better survivability, because we know that Burning has that one passive where if it's being attacked by like, what was it, like range of like 4 or greater or something like that, it has reduced damage, and that doesn't apply to weapon damage nullification null. So essentially it can mitigate that damage without having to worry about that, and then it gets in on you and it literally touches you with its EX attack, and that's all she wrote. I mean, we've seen just how powerful, even at no limit break, how strong Burning Gundam is. I would say Burning Gundam is at the top right now, followed by, and I know this might be controversial, I think Hainu is a little bit better than Strike Freedom. Hainu just edges it out just because of its damage capabilities, and also a very strong, very solid, map attack. And then finally, I'm gonna say Strike Freedom edges this particular unit just by a little bit. I would say I would still take range over melee, unless we're talking about Burning Gundam. But I would say that I would put Lupus Rex with Mika at number 4 in terms of like our attackers, if you guys wanted me to rank them. I do think it's a very strong unit. I do think it's the optimum premier crit machine that we currently have. However, in terms of my review, if you already have Burning, or if you already have melee units that you're comfortable with, even if maybe they're not nearly as strong as Lupus Rex, I think it's safe to say you can skip this banner, because as we see, they will be bringing back some of the limited URs, and they've already done that with the Stardust Memory banner that we had before this. And usually what we've been seeing now is when they bring something back, they kind of give it a little bit of a buff. It's not too much of a crazy buff, but they have been giving them a little buffs here and there. So I would say it's better to wait, especially we know that Black Friday is right around the corner. We just never know what they're going to be releasing during that time. Might be something crazy, might be something special. And then with Christmas, there's a lot of talk about Wing Gundam Zero being the potential featured unit. And if they don't make that unit crazy strong, I don't know what to say, but I'm going to be saving my diamonds. I recognize that Lupus Rex is a very strong unit. It's definitely the best crit machine in the game currently. However, if you're already sitting on really strong melee damage dealers, you're probably going to be passing on this banner. Unless, of course, this is your favorite and you love Lupus Rex, then by all means, go nuts with your diamonds. But just tread with caution, because we know further down the line, we're probably going to be seeing some more cool stuff come out in this game. Let me know what you guys think about this banner overall, with your thoughts and opinions and comments. Love to hear it. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys disagree? If you guys think I maybe missed something out when I was reviewing these units, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.